Hey y'all, welcome back. I am music journalist Thomas Mooney. This is episode 208 of New Slang, and this go around I am joined by singer-songwriter Grady Spencer of Grady Spencer The Work. I've known Grady for a good long while now. Matter of fact, he was one of those very first interviews featured on New Slang probably around 10 years ago or so. Since then, he has released 5 more albums, along with that first album, the seminal Optimist Club. He's released Sunday's Ships, Sleep, The Line Between, Celebrate, and most recently, Wait. The latest 4 being with his long-running band, The Work. They released Wait just about a month ago, and it features songs that reflects really the past couple of years, as well as embracing a little bit more of that indie rock sonic palette. In my estimation, I would say that Grady has long been a songwriter, influenced and inspired a lot by friends and family and their impact on his life. You hear that in songs like Things to Do, Austin, Grant, and Green Girl. You've heard him grow as a storyteller with songs like Goats. And of course, you're never going to fully take that out of Grady's writing. That's a huge part of why we love him. But in saying that, I think that Wait sees him move further into a self-reflection and has a lot more introspective detail with the likes of Therapy's Good, Down But Blessed, and Grown, among others. As strong as ever, I encourage y'all to go and check out Wait if you haven't just yet. We talk about those songs and much more on this episode, which we'll get all to that here in 1 second, but first, a word from our presenting partners over at Desert Door, Texas Sotol. Today's presenting partner is our pals over at Desert Door, Texas Sotol. If you've been listening to New Slang, I reckon you're more than familiar with Desert Door by now. In case you need a refresher or just aren't exactly sure what Desert Door or what a Sotol is, well, let me fill you in. Desert Door is one of my all-time favorite premium, high-quality spirits. Harvested and distilled right here in the great state of Texas, Desert Door is genuine and authentically West Texan. Sotol comes from the desert plant it shares its name with. As a reference point, it is an agave, so there is some semblance to a tequila or mezcal, and it does owe a lot of its heritage to the resilient natives of the deserts of northern Mexico and West Texas. In my estimation though, Desert Door Texas Sotol is more refined, smooth, and fragrant than its agave cousins. It intrigues the palate and offers these robust hints of vanilla and citrus. There's a rich earthiness that often sends me back to my own Trans-Pecos and far west Texas roots. There's plenty to love about Desert Door. For me, it starts with all those inherently West Texan roots. But a close second is just how versatile Desert Door can be. You can be down home in a denim jacket and a pair of work boots, just something short and sweet like a ranch water, or throw it in some Coca-Cola. Pro tip though, get yourself one of those Mexican Cokes when doing so. Or if it's more of a blazer affair, maybe suit and tie, Desert Door, it hits the spot then too. You can be a little bit more highbrow and concoct a variety of cocktails that call for muddling fresh fruit and sprigs of thyme and sticks of cinnamon. Regardless of the occasion or your preferred style, just follow your bliss when drinking Desert Door. Right now, you can find Desert Door all over Texas, Colorado, and Tennessee, with budding numbers in New Mexico, Arizona, California, and expanding across to a liquor store near you. For more on where, check out desertdoor.com. There you can learn more about their process, history, and what cocktails may suit your style. Again, that's desertdoor.com. Okay, let's get to it. Here is Grady Spencer.
Yeah.
I know, I think we should start this off by just addressing the fact that we did one of these here in person one time. It was on some new equipment with Charlie Stout.
Yeah.
And, it just didn't get recorded. And that was like a golden podcast that was just...
Dude, it was the best, man. I still tell that story of man, it was hilarious and kind of perfect, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a card just filled up.
Yeah.
First time ever using this thing. Charlie Stout comes over and is like, yeah, you need to use this right here. It's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Yada, yada. He does it. And then we talk for an hour. We go into some good stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, Man, I don't think that fucking recorded.
Dude, it was the worst.
Oh,
I mean, it was
okay,
the
cool.
best, also the worst. Yeah, man. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I bring that up just because I guess that was 2 or 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
You've had 2 records since.
Yeah.
You just released one, Wait. This one, it feels like it just kind of a surprise record. Not necessarily a surprise record, but it feels like it just came out really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's in part just me not keeping up on what was going on, part quarantine. It feels like a very much a record out of the quarantine, though. In looking at it, just, do you feel like this record kind of is an imprint of the last bit of life, this strangeness that's been happening in the world? Do you feel like that's one of the biggest or one of the bigger takeaways?
Yeah, man. I mean, you hit the nail on the head of like lyrically, 80% of the songs were kind of based on either stuff that was happening in COVID or kind of the result of that, of having to wait, of quitting my day job and then everything shutting down. And it's like, well, this thing I thought I was getting ready to like, this horse I was getting ready to jump on just died, and it's just
Right.
like, it was a weird thing. And, yeah, dude, what's crazy is like, I purposefully didn't try to hype it up too much because I wasn't sure with COVID, like if we were going to be able to have a release tour. So the album, it's been done for a really long time. And I just never really hinted it and just kind of kept it pretty low key. Like I gave some kind of hints back when we were recording that we were doing it, but it was definitely on purpose that like it kind of seemed to come quickly because, literally week by week, it was like, well, are we going to get to play shows? We're not going to get to play shows. Well, somebody's got COVID, can't do it. And so, yeah, it was definitely a timid release because it's just like, man, I don't know what's going to happen. But they've actually been done for a really long time, and then just kind of waiting for the right time to put it out. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, even sonically, I would say like it feels very much more. Obviously, you guys recorded in the studio and all that stuff, but
Sure.
in comparison to like Celebrate,
Yeah.
which I remember you at one point wanted like some more horns on it, it's more of that party crowd. This one is very, just in title alone, Celebrate versus Wait.
Yeah.
This one feels a lot more reserved, a little bit more of like a bedroom record.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, that's definitely valid. Yeah, with Celebrate, we were working with these guys called Nile City, which is like who did Leon's first record. And it definitely felt like it should be this big, over the top thing because we're getting to work with these really incredible people. And, it was fun and it was big. I think admittedly, like what my expectations and even the studio people's expectations for that record, like I think we all had higher hopes than what happened with it. Like it was still great and definitely, pushed my career forward. But it wasn't like this big thing that we thought it was going to be. And so with this last one with Wait, we were working with a buddy of mine named Reese Murphy there in Fort Worth, and it wasn't like this big name studio. It's just this guy. I mean, he's well known in like the church music scene, but on a grand scale, like he's pretty under the radar. And so nobody was looking at their watch. We're just in there jacking around with pedals, having fun and like exploring stuff because there wasn't any sort of timeline, and we weren't on these big name schedules. And so
Right.
Yeah, dude, he's definitely pro, but we like what I like to listen to. We had the time to like try and take this like quote unquote Texas country thing that I've been lumped in and like put the bedroom pop type feel on it because that's the kind of stuff I like. That's what I like to listen to. And so it was definitely refreshing. And yeah, we just had like, for better, for worse, we had the time to do it because nothing else was going on. This was like last February. So there weren't a lot of shows. We could just do it. And yeah, it felt good for sure.
Yeah. It feels like there's this, for better or worse, less expectations that you put on yourself. Sounds like.
Yeah.
Like, I think like we all can do that, where you kind of get all your ducks in a row and you think, okay, if it's gonna, you start like, I guess, building up this dream in your head. And I think we all do that. And it sounds like what you did was, since there wasn't any shows, it's not like you're going to be like added on to a bunch of big shows or get a giant tour put together or whatever the case is. And you just kind of have to, I think there's this beauty of that happened in the quarantine of just kind of getting lost in the art itself again without necessarily thinking of the business strategy behind anything.
For sure, dude. I mean, I was watching a lot of interviews and listening to podcasts, and like, I think a lot of artists, they were like, oh, we have all this time, like we should really try and be as creative as possible. And like, the world was just such a dumpster fire that it was like really hard to like be productive, I think, for a lot of people. And so to come out of it with like a whole new album that I really love and like is something that I enjoy listening to, it was a win for sure. Because I have friends, who tried to do stuff, and it's just too hard, because it's like the world is just too crazy to try to like rope your brain into like doing something productive. And so like I felt really lucky that we actually pulled this off.
What I noticed, or what I've kind of been talking about when it comes to this, has been, so probably like the best thing you could ever, if you just had a wish on like what would make your career or your art better, you're just gonna, time.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden, here's all this time, the time.
Yep.
And you kind of go, I don't need it in this large chunk. Like there's no way to actually process through it like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people started doing other things, like as far as what I would just kind of lump into the arts, which is probably something that they weren't thinking about doing full time, but as a secondary thing, like painting or like writing or trying to do poetry or gardening or whatever the case. And then I think out of that, once we all started kind of, for lack of a better term, started getting used to being in quarantine, being in this strange new world. From that point, they realized, this stuff has helped me out in the long run, or
100%.
Now I can figure out what I'm trying to say versus the quote unquote, I'm gonna make the quarantine record
for sure
of our generation.
Definitely, dude. Yeah. What was crazy is like, I was trying to be semi-productive, and so like we did some like remote tracked things, and like people recording from their houses, and just kind of like we're emailing stuff back and forth. And so I released some things in the middle of it, and it was so crazy of the service that I used to get all my music distributed in quarantine, dude. The wait times were like 5 times what they were, because accountants were making, like electropop records, and like, like it was like, what else are you gonna do, And luckily, by the time I was ready to do this one, I think everybody is like kind of going back to the normal life, because it was back to like a week turnaround, where it had taken like 2 months from when you submitted to like get everything out, just because there's so many people doing so much stuff, which was like, it was frustrating in the moment for me, but it was also really cool to think about, well, the world's kind of being creative right now, and that's a good thing that people have that outlet, I guess.
I got this time. I'm gonna write my my book of a lifetime, or
that's
like
right,
that kind
dude.
of thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
This episode is brought to you by our partners over at the Blue Light Live here in Lubbock, Texas. Blue Light has long been the epicenter of the Lubbock songwriter scene and has been a prestigious home away from home for some of Texas Americana, country, and rock and roll's finest over the decades. Talk with a songwriter who's come out of Lubbock, West Texas, or the Panhandle the last 20 years, and 99.9% of them are going to tell you just how integral and necessary the Blue Light has been in their come up as a songwriter and a performer. With live original music just about every night of the week, head on over to bluelightlubbock.com to check out their schedule. I know over these next few months, you'll be seeing folks like Roger Klein and the Peacemakers, Grady Spencer and The Work, Josh Weathers, Troy Cartwright, David Bex, Tahano Weekend, Tristan Merez, and Braxton Keith grace the Blue Light stage. Again, that's bluelightlubbock.com. While there, check out their merch page. They have a wide range of hats, beanies, sweaters, hoodies, jackets, and koozies. You can get all your merch needs while you're seeing your favorite band take the stage by just asking your bartender, and they'll get you set up as well. And of course, this should go without saying, but make sure you tip your bartenders and buy some merch from the band while you're at it. That's 1806 Buddy Holly Avenue, Lubbock, Texas, bluelightlubbock.com. Pretty good chance I'll see you there. Okay, let's get back to the show. I was going to mention that the song Therapy is good.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about how this Texas country thing that you're lumped into. I think when we talk about being introspective or being intimate, writing something like that with those kind of descriptions within the Texas country scene, it's like this, you're professing your love or like your heartbreak or something like that, like something related to family or like, there, how many quote unquote like grandpa's song do we have, whatever that kind of stuff. Rarely I think I'm sure that there's plenty of songs that are looking at yourself, but or examine mental health or everything related to that. But this one is very, very spot on as far as like taking it head on. Yeah. I guess like my question is how do you get to a place where you're comfortable in being that as part of a song? Yeah. It can always be part of you. For sure. But then like I think a lot of people have maybe a hard time putting it into a song. Maybe they're not comfortable singing it to people.
No, definitely. I mean, I think in general, Americans don't like thinking about mental health and things like that. And, for a lot of years, like in the first 10 years of my career, I probably would have been like, man, this doesn't feel right. This is either too much of me or too corny or too on the nose or something. But in truth, there was a guy, I was at a point in my life where, with the construction stuff, 40, 60 hours a week on a job site, I had gotten signed to Red 11. They were doing their job and booking me every weekend. So literally there was no time to rest. I mean, we had Sundays and then we were normally driving home. And so my wife and kids were kind of getting just the skeleton of what was left over, the shell of me. And so it reached a point to where Casey, my wife, was like, I think you need to talk to somebody because you're kind of get on a path that's not going to go great. And, long story short, I found this guy named Tim Watson, and he helped me kind of unpack, like, this anxiety that I was dealing with and the stress of, like, constantly needing to be going and not, frankly, being out of gas. And he just kind of helped me unpack it and walk me through it. And that was kind of the little nudge that was like, you know what, I think I should quit my day job and give this a shot. And that was something... that one session was probably the one moment in my life that is going to like transition and take me off to somewhere that never would have happened if I hadn't gone and talked to somebody. And so from that time on, it was just something that I think everyone could benefit from going to talk to a professional, because it's just, we're all dealing with unprecedented stress and like madness and like craziness. And it's just super healthy to go unpack it. And so to answer your question, like to get up there on a stage with people having a party time and like be singing about therapy, it's a weird fit for sure. But it's also something that like I hope will connect with somebody who might be like on the verge of like a breakdown or like dealing with dark stuff of like, I don't know what to do, but then here's this weird guy up here singing about a therapy session. Like my hope would be that they would, be able to kind of pull it together and look into it, because it was super helpful for me. And that's kind of what I'm hoping it would be for other people too. So.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers the question.
I think the thing is like, stress and anxiety and depression and all these things that are kind of like putting weight on someone's shoulders. That like not every, but like the vast majority of artists are dealing with that.
Sure.
But most of the time that manifests in an alcohol problem or a drug problem or being burnout or just finding various vices that, that when we go, oh, well, so-and-so, what happened to that band? Because they disappeared or because they couldn't maintain a certain level of balance.
Sure.
And so I think and it's also one of those things that I'm saying like multiple things here, but we often, and this is the cliche of, music's my therapy.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's not a foreign thing to you in some respect.
Yeah.
But, often whenever you're listening to music, you're not able to unpack yourself.
Sure.
You may be working some things out because, that song gets you, quote unquote, or something. But, it's just something that there's obviously a stigma attached to, this guy has a therapist or this person, as in like you're someone who's broken.
Yeah.
But I think like we've for the longest time have tried to find, I guess the long story short, what I'm trying to say is we've always been trying to find these outlets of trying to get therapy without actually doing it.
Definitely, man. Yeah. And I'm all for like, if it's therapeutic for you, by all means do it. But frankly, like that's just a one-way thing of you outputting something. There's no input from like a guitar, acoustic guitar, and so that could be helpful to like help you calm down and like, center yourself and lower the stress. But it's really helpful to have a professional from an outside perspective say, well, I think it might be that's the problem. And you're like, oh man, I didn't even think about it like that. And then it's super simple. And like, I think it's something, I'm not saying anything revolutionary, but like I think there's some stigma about getting help or going to see a counselor or a psychologist or whatever, and like thinking that makes you weaker, and it's like it's not. It's the opposite, because it's super hard, but it's really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a lot of years, I didn't go to the dentist for a long time, and then I started going to the dentist. Like, oh yeah, this makes me healthier. And like, I didn't go to therapy for 36 years. I go, and I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. To like, I'm going on Monday, like go and pack. I'm feeling pretty tired and stressed, and so, yeah, dude, I can't recommend it enough. And that was my goal of like putting it on the album, is to do my little part to say, hey, this is good for you if you can do it, Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like for the musician analogy, it's like you did the album and then didn't take it to get it mixed and mastered.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
dude. Exactly.
Take it to the professional.
Yeah, dude. That's exactly what it is. And honestly, I've got friends who always skip that part. I'm like, what are you doing? You just spent all this time recording this. Like, just pay the $300 to get it done right, But yeah.
No, I can do it too.
Yeah, well, dude. I always think that computer over there, I'm like, oh, dude, I can mix it. But it always just sounds horrible.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is like, well, you've been around that. Like, you've heard that song, 300 times.
Yeah.
I don't, and then you think like, well, yeah, I have the fresh ears to.
Yeah,
to
you
do
don't.
this.
Yeah, you have so many biases, and it's a perfect analogy of like, we all have our own biases with our own lives, and like, we think we understand stuff, but we're probably lying to ourselves a lot too. So
yeah. This episode is in part brought to you by Charlie Stout Photography. I want y'all all to head over to charliestout.com right now to get a glimpse of his work. While you're at it, go give him a follow on Instagram and Twitter at Charlie Stout. Right now, he has more than 50 photographs for sale on charliestout.com with a diverse selection of landscapes and sky shots of West Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. Open roads and windmills, sunsets and stardust, cotton rows and cacti. He captures a lot of what I love about West Texas and the great American Southwest. The depth, the way, and raw intensity is all there in his photography. He captures that struggle between man and the land. It's Mother Nature reclaiming objects like rusting tractors and abandoned homesteads, or it's man wrangling the wild and trying to put his impression on the land with rows of cotton or colossal windmills or iron orchards pumping oil from the deep, dark below. And sometimes it's just the raw beauty of a mountain breaking up limitless sky or a setting sun leaving the day behind. At any rate, Charlie's photographs move you. Maybe there's a little bit of that I ain't crying, that's just West Texas in my eye in all of Charlie's photos. Again, go visit charliestout.com and order yourself a photograph or two. Also, a pro tip, keep an eye out on his Twitter. He's consistently posting one-offs and errors and randoms on there that are available in the flash sale variety. Again, that's at Charlie Stout. Head on over to charliestout.com. Grab a signed print, buy a record. It's good for your soul. All right, let's get back to the episode. One of the things that you've been doing over the years that I think is really cool, you have some moments on this record, it is like you're not like afraid of taking a song that you've done before, and reinventing it, or going, hey, maybe this is a new fresh spin on it. Does that come from, or does that originate from thinking that you didn't necessarily do it the right way the first time, or is it more of a, this is morphed into this because we started playing it this way live? Or what's been kind of the typical case? It's
been both. The ones on the two that I redid on this last album, it was very much, I think we could do it better. I would go back and listen to the old stuff and just, where we were at musically, talent-wise, and like experience. I thought the songs deserved a better effort and like better quality. And then, for other stuff, we just started playing it different, and it was kind of a new song, and we decided to redo it. And then Things to Do, the Fort Worth song, the city of Fort Worth keeps wanting to use it for stuff, and so they keep asking me to like redo it in a different way. And as many times as they want me to try, like I'll keep squeezing that juice out, because it's like I love having that relationship with them. And so it's something that at times I'm thinking, man, this is kind of a crutch, this is like I should just write new stuff. But I think if we do it right, then it's a whole new thing, and it's kind of a nod to the past. And so that's what I tried to do, for sure. Yeah. You mentioned how, like during the quarantine, it could be difficult to create for artists. Was it difficult for you to actually, be able to, like, I guess, carve out that space for you to sit down and write by yourself, or did you feel like it was a little bit easier? Oh no, it was harder. Just because, and I love them to death, and like I'm so thankful that I got to spend a year and a half with them, because it was the most time I've ever spent. But with two young kids, I think my wife and I would both agree that it's like after the first couple of months, it's just madness. And her job, they started going back a lot earlier than the kids started going back to school, and so there were months where it was just me and the kids for 3 days of the week. And so dude, it was really hard to try to find any sort of juice to like do anything creative. And I did do some stuff, but it was not good, because I'm just so like frazzled. And I think any parent of young kids could identify with that chapter of like you're being cooped up with two young kids who have no idea what's going on, and they just want to play, you know. Right. And I'm glad, and that's a vibe that Casey and I tried to have, is like, okay, how can we minimize the need for them to go to therapy from this? Like we're just trying not to mentally scar them, and so like we tried to insulate them as much as we could from the craziness that was going on. But short answer, no, it was super hard, and it just because it was, my time was pretty taken up by being a dad, which was, it was cool. I think once I finally realized like I'm fighting an uphill battle, and just like this isn't the time to be writing a new album, like it was great, because I got to enjoy a time with them that I never would have had normally. So
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's I could imagine it being there's only so many times you can say, hold on, just give me 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand like the concept of 5
For
more
sure.
minutes, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, like as you said, like just that uphill you're just battling yourself really.
Definitely.
Of like trying to say, oh, let me carve out, because you know how much effort and time it takes to write something.
Yeah.
To get in that headspace.
Yep.
And you know, if you're not being able to give it at 100%, you know, it's probably best to just let the songwriting marinate in the background while you're doing other
100%, man. Dude, that's it. And that's kind of the way I am on the road, too. I mean, we've been traveling a lot the past month and a half. And, you know, my impulse is like, well, man, I need to be productive on the road and, like, get the social media stuff super tight, or be recording some videos to, like, post, or, like, be writing for the next album. And it's just, like, at some point you have to acknowledge, like, you don't have it in you right now. Like, just do your job of what you're out here doing. Do that as best as you can, and then rest when you can. And so that's something that's like, it's hard for me to do, because I have all these things in my mind that I want to do. I want to do a podcast. I want to screen print posters. I want to make cool videos. And it's like, there will be a time for me to do that, but this is not that time.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a bummer to have to finally come to that realization that, like, you wait till you're home and you're not traveling 5 days a week, you know. And so that's kind of what I'm doing now. I was just trying to, like, find a healthy balance.
Yeah, you mentioned being out on the road more. You guys have been going out in new places.
Yeah.
Fresh places you guys have not been to.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, like, how has that been? Like, how have those crowds been in these new markets, essentially?
Dude, it's been an incredible year and a half. You know, from 2020 to 2021, not great, but pretty much from 2021 till now, you know, for the first 10 years of my career, it was just Texas and, like, 2 Oklahoma cities that we've ever played. And so that was the only place we'd gone. And now, in the past year and a half, we've literally gone almost, you know, 75% of the country. And it's been really incredible and super fun. There's been, like, things that you would expect, you know, like the 5-person crowd in, where were we at? San Francisco. We played a show. There was, like, 5 people. And then, you know, we played Atlanta, and there's over 200. And it's just, it's really wild and really exciting for, like, the future of, like, you know, to think that we could pull a crowd like that. You know, I see friends doing it all. You know, I see Flatland slaying everywhere. I see, you know, BJ and American Aquarium playing packed rooms all over the country. And I'm like, man, that would be cool. And to actually pull it off in, like, Atlanta or Chicago, it's incredible. And it's super exciting. And it feels like, man, we might be able to do this for a while. And so, yeah, man, it's been incredible.
Yeah. Well, you know, you mentioned it just 2 seconds ago about getting sleep.
Yeah.
Right. I guess, like, the way what I'm thinking about it is not that, like, you wouldn't wanted to do this 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Get out in these different markets. But obviously you're a different person than you were 15, 20 years ago. Do you think, like, maybe there's this sense of, because, you know, you're married, have kids, you know, you're late 30s, that maybe you kind of even though you haven't been a road dog all this time, that you kind of know, okay, you know, I can't drink a 18 pack every night. You know, I can't party every night.
Yep.
You know, you're going to value that sleep.
Dude, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if we'd have gotten this opportunity when I was 25, I probably would be dead. You know, just because I'd probably just be going hard every night, or, you know, just trying to have the best time ever, and I'm still having a blast, but it's something different in that I'm getting to enjoy this job and like enjoy it as a career. And in my late 30s, like I can't do more than 2 or 3 beers a night because, driving home, driving 10 hours the next day, because, it's just the 4 of us in the van. We don't have like a crew. And so most of the times I'm driving. So it's like, I don't want to be doing that just completely blasted from the night before. And I think you hit it on the head. Like, I think this has been a perfect time to get this opportunity. Obviously, like being away from Casey and the kids is hard because I feel like, I'm kind of missing them super hard, and because they're such a big part of my life now. But also, I think I have the maturity to know that I'm doing this for them as well, and like creating this balance of like a career that's going to give our family kind of stability. It's kind of gas in the tank, and like it's something that Casey and I tell each other all the time. We have to remind each other, like, one night she's bummed that I'm having to go, and I pep talk her up, and then the next night I'm like, I want to cancel the show. I don't want to go. And she'll give me a pep talk of how this is helping, our little unit. And man, it's just incredible, and it really does feel like the perfect time, and I'm just enjoying every bit of it. And but you're right, like trying to get as much sleep as I can when I can. So definitely have to be mindful of that.
Yeah. Well, it's there's nothing wrong with, I guess, like finding your boundaries, pushing it to the limits, and knowing where your line is, and going, okay, yeah, that was fun for then, but I can't do that every night.
Sure.
And I guess like what I was thinking about too is, there's a reason why like truck drivers have logbooks. You know, like bands, I guess, don't have a logbook as far as how many hours you can drive or anything like that. But there's a reason why if you're long haul trucking, you can only be on the road so long, and you're supposed to have so much time off. And sleep is important.
Dude, 100%.
Do you like the driving though, or do you kind of like to be? Where's your like preferred place?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to be in the driver's seat as much as I can. But yeah, I mean, like for Halloween, we played a party in Virginia, and then we all wanted to make it back. Or it was the night before Halloween, and so like we played the show, got done around like 10 p.m. in Virginia, and just started driving. And just everybody took shifts, and like, of course, we were super glad to see our families when we got home. But I'm really trying to minimize that kind of mentality, because it's just like, dude, all it takes is one wrong move, and then we're all dead or paralyzed or something, and that's not helpful to anybody. So like, trying to keep it to like only when we absolutely have to do like overnight 10, 15-hour drives. We'll do it. And, I got plenty of podcasts to listen to, but I try to not do that and try and like plan it out and get an extra day or two to make sure that we have time to safely do it without running off the side of the road. So,
well, it's also, and maybe this is a problem that you have because it's a problem for me whenever I'm driving, and like about an hour and a half in, I go, gosh, okay, my back is like kind of feeling a little stiff. Oh, I forgot to remove my wallet.
Yeah, dude.
And now I'm like off balance, and that's the reason why my back is like killing me.
Dude, how old are you?
I'm 34.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. Yep. My wallet will murder me, and like my neck and shoulders start hurting, and it's just, man, it's getting old mixed with like late night long driving is not good, but yeah, we figured it out.
I always my dad drove a whole bunch growing up, and we'd be on a road trip or something, and I would always see him remove his wallet and be like, look at this guy over here. Weak man over here having to take his wallet out.
Yep.
And of course he had like a Costanza wallet that was, just packed full of shit.
Huge hockey puck. Yeah.
But still, you're kind of like, man, now I understand.
I get it, dude. I completely get it. Yeah.
I want to break in just one more time to mention The Lubbock Way, a collection of wallflower vignettes. That's a book I wrote and released this past fall. As you'd probably guessed by the title, it's a collection of stories and thoughts about the Lubbock music scene circa 2015 to around 2017. I'd like to characterize it as an insightful peek into 35 nights, weekends, and episodes about various songwriters and bands like Red Shahan, Flatland Cavalry, Randall King, William Clark Green, Brandon Adams, and many, 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 many others. It's currently on sale in the New Slang merch store. That's newslangpodcast.bigcartel.com. While there, you can also find t-shirts, koozies, coffee mugs, stickers, and a bunch of other stuff. This first edition has been exclusively limited to only 806 copies. Obviously, a nod to the Panhandle area code and all the 806ers out there. Links to the merch store, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, they'll also be in the show notes. Again, go buy a copy of The Lubbock Way, a collection of wallflower vignettes by me, Thomas Mooney. All right, let's get back to the episode. One of the, needed to bring this up, and one of the things you did between the records, EP, 90s Country.
Yeah.
4 songs. What was kind of like left on the, the cutting room floor? What was kind of like that last?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, we're only doing these 4, not this 5th one.
Yeah, my buddy Reese, who ended up doing our album, he kind of just hooked me up on because we did that all remote, and so it was a pretty big job of compiling everybody's stuff and mixing it, and so I was trying to keep it pretty manageable for him because there wasn't. I don't even know if I paid him at all, honestly. I think he might have just hooked me up fat, and so we tried to keep it pretty concise. But yeah, Grundy County Auction was one. An Alan Jackson song. I was thinking either Chattahoochee or something like that. There were a couple that were like that, and we might go back and do it again now that we know we can. But now BJ's kind of done it, and mine came out first, and then he did it, and then I'm like, well, if anybody ever hears mine, they're not gonna know that that I'm just ripping off BJ's. But the way that he's doing his is more tied closer to the original thing, and what we're doing is a, kind of I don't know if are you familiar with Scary Pockets? Have you ever heard of them?
No, I've not.
So they're a funk band in LA, and they just take all genres of songs and they make them funk songs. And that was my whole goal of taking these songs that had such a huge role in my childhood growing up and doing them 180 degrees differently in a different way. And so I think that is the only way that we would do another one, and I wouldn't fear that somebody thinks I'm ripping off BJ's idea. But yeah, dude, it's fun. It's just fun to play those songs, and
yeah.
And we still do at least one a night, and every time we do it, people just go bonkers. So yeah, man, it's been fun.
The 90s country thing, of course, I feel, within the last couple of years, we've all kind of been beaten around the bush, if you will, of oh, you know what? Let's just say the 90s were fucking good.
Yeah, dude.
90s country was good.
Yep.
And I think we all kind of been tiptoeing around it, and then all of a sudden, people start talking about it more. We just have embraced it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And maybe all this, it's all been in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, dude.
Of finally addressing 90s country is great, and here are the reasons why. And
100%.
we're all kind of talking about it now.
It's crazy. It's almost the 90s in general, just the aesthetics and the way the hipsters are dressing and the 90s are back, baby. And it's it's incredible. But yeah, I think the 90s country thing is its own monumental thing all in itself, that it carved out something in music history that obviously has been in us since then, and everybody appreciates it. And you're right, I think for many years people were oh, that's corny, that was lame dudes, huge mullets and perms, right, and all this. And now you get every frat guy and his brother have a perm and a mullet, and everybody loves Brooks and Dunn. So it's Yeah, dude, it's a good time to be alive, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's what also is just one of those things that people of our age always think of the 90s only being 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's not 10 years ago
Yeah,
anymore.
dude, it hurts, man.
And, it's one of those like, gosh, it does hurt.
Yeah.
The whole 90s thing, the aesthetic, we still had music on MTV at the time. 90s radio, the CD.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the CD was so, like think about like all the CDs you bought.
Yeah.
And how you just cherished them more because you actually had to like, scrounge up $18 or $15 to buy one versus, the I don't know what Spotify is now or Apple Music is.
Yeah.
But, you had to like pick and choose. You had to
100%.
you had to decide on something.
Yep.
When you went to the store and you were wanting to buy a CD.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, I remember hearing a song on the radio, thinking I remembered the lyrics well enough, getting my mom to take me to Walmart and buying it with like allowance money, only to find out that what I thought the name of the song was completely wrong, and I bought like this really explicit like rap CD and like popped it into the CD player as soon as I got out. And my mom was like, "What is this?" And I realized I'd made a huge mistake. But you had no way of knowing. Like, there's no internet. Like, you just thought you remembered some words in the song. You thought that was it, and it was not it. So
yeah, okay, I know the band, and I love this song.
Yeah.
And then thinking it's like actually a different title.
Yep.
And then going and then getting like the next record.
Yep.
And then you realize it's not as like
it's
that's
not good. Yeah.
That's not what you were wanting.
Yeah.
I always talk about with with like the Wallflowers, not ever having whatchamacallit, the big one, was it Break Down the House or Break Down the Horse or
yeah.
Not having that record, but having like Rebel Sweetheart.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of like I had to fall in love with that record, basically.
You had to learn to love it. Yeah.
And then that's kind of the way records work. You listen to them more, obviously. It's not the same thing as vinyl as far as being difficult to turn back a song.
Yeah.
But still, you had to decisions had to be made.
For sure.
When you were buying a CD.
100%, man.
I'm going to ask the cliche question, but do you remember like the first CD that you got?
The thing that sticks out in my mind is a girl from my class. I don't even know if we were like supposed to be boyfriend or girlfriend or what, but I think we were like in the 4th grade, so I hope not, because my daughter's almost in the 4th grade and I don't want her. I don't want to think about her having a boyfriend. So I'm just gonna say it was a girl that was in my class. She bought me Matchbox 20, the one with like the big dude with the, I can't remember the name of the album, but the one with all the hits on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was probably the first one I ever got. Maybe, no, yeah, that was it. Creed is sticking out in my mind, but that was many years later in high school. So
Yourself or Someone Like
that's
You.
it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
That one was, I remember my mom getting that one. Mm-hmm. And this was also during the time of Columbia House Music.
Yep.
So we had a subscription, and I know I got plenty of stuff on there just via, okay, well, at least let me pick one of the CDs that are a penny. Please.
Definitely, yeah.
That whole thing.
It's so crazy.
But I feel like Matchbox 20 is getting their flowers finally.
Yeah, dude.
That was another one of those bands that like people thought was kind of corny and cheeseball.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe lumped in a little too close to like Dave Matthews.
Yep.
But I think they're still fucking good.
Dude, I do too, man. I mean, I think I should go back and listen to that record tomorrow driving home, see if it holds up. But I mean, at the time, it was for 4th grade Grady. I mean, that was some epic stuff, you know. And like, I've only heard stuff on the radio, country music on the radio. That was a pretty epic, revolutionary thing in my mind.
Yeah.
So
I've talked about how going to summer camp, and 7, 8-year-old, and hearing, and this is like one of those things where it's like, man, looking at the bands I'm going to name are, by all means, they are like the tamest of white bands ever.
Yeah,
but like
sure.
it was the first music that I remember hearing that was not my parents.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, my counselor's throwing on Dave Matthews and like Counting Crows and thinking like, oh man, like what is this?
Yeah.
And of course, like then we're gonna go into the you can't remember what the hell they're called.
For sure.
Like, forever you're just trying to search for for something similar and yeah.
It was a beautiful time, man. I mean, I love thinking about that and I mean, MapQuest and CDs, like that was life, you know, just ripping through some discs. So
MapQuest, that was for everyone who doesn't know what we're talking about. You'd have to like pull up MapQuest and then print out the instructions, the directions on how to get somewhere.
I completely just ripped off a meme that I saw last week. It was like, you know, the top of it said like, kids these days are too distracted driving, and then it cuts to a video of a guy, and he has like a book of CDs. He's like flipping through with one in his mouth, and he's like has a huge stack of papers of MapQuest, and like that's how we did it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's good times.
I was gonna say though, you know, my dad was really still proficient at using a map.
Yeah.
And we'd be driving, and he'd be like having me hold it up.
Yes,
and then be like, point a finger where the town we just left and the town we're going, and let me like see, and, like read between.
Visualize.
Basically.
Yes, dude. Little mobile cartographer over there, dude. I love it.
No idea how we got around places.
Yeah, dude. But that's the beauty of it, man. Like, we're in such a hurry these days, like so crunched for time that like we need ways to tell us the most efficient way. Whereas back then, maybe take a wrong turn, who cares? You know, like it's just part of life. So
yeah. They left wherever they're from, and they're coming to Fort Stockton, which is of course where I lived. You just don't know when they're going to get there.
Yeah.
You know, they just show up for Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And they told you when they left because they said it on the landline and they called you. And
that's it, man.
Their bag phone wasn't getting service.
Yeah, dude. It was beautiful times, man. I wish I could go back. Yeah.
Yeah. To go back onto the 90s country radio, though, one thing I was going to ask is, I feel like that was a time when we've talked about all this style, you know, the style of the 90s, but that was a time when it felt there was still a whole lot of substance that was being sung. Now, of course, you know, 12-year-old Grady is probably not picking up on, you know, the nuance of the storytelling of a blue-collar person and, you know, John Michael Montgomery or like whoever. Yeah. But, you know, looking back now, do you feel like that just kind of seeped in just by being around, you know, a radio being around and playing a lot of these blue-collar songs? And
dude,
you know,
I mean, I definitely think so. I mean, my dad was married to... I remember a lot of the times of hearing, like the first time I heard George Strait, Carrying Your Love With Me, my dad was married to this lady and she had stepsons, and her family were farmers out in Slayton. And, you know, on the weekends I would come visit my dad, and we would be out in the cotton field, you know, hoeing cotton or whatever. And I would hear a lot of these songs as a young kid out there. And so, like, yeah, I think just the concept of, like, working hard and, like, that music and the lyrical, like, meat of it and, like, how well they were done. Like, they sound incredible. There's a lot of weight to the lyrics that they were doing. Catchy, and it's just, like, it was an incredible chapter. And, yeah, so for sure, like, I think that blue-collar ethic definitely stuck, for sure, musically, 100%.
Yeah, it's always funny how, like, the way you processed love or, like, what hard work was as a kid.
Yep.
Because, like, I think, like, we all kind of, maybe 12-year-old or 10-year-old Grady did, because I feel like, now that I say that, I think we all kind of thought, like, oh, you know what, like, the perfect world was, you know, Tracy Lawrence's.
Yeah.
You know, if the world had a front porch like we did back then. Like, that's how I think, like, even in processing it, then you kind of going, this is how the future is going to be for me, even though he's talking about the past.
Dude, I love it. Yeah, that's exactly it. It was just like, yeah, that's. Yeah, I'm sure he made a huge profit on that song, but that doesn't make it untrue. Right. You know, a lot of the stuff that he's saying. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Good stuff, yeah. Good stuff tonight here at the Blue Light.
Dude. Yeah.
Obviously, like you're playing tonight, Roots here at the Blue Light.
Uh-huh.
We'll get you out on this one right here. What's kind of like your favorite show you've seen here?
Man, I was thinking about that the other day. We were playing with Jonathan Tyler the other day, and I remember coming here. I think I was still in tech, and he came in with the Northern Lights, and I was right over there behind you on the pew, and it was so packed that, like, people couldn't even get to the bathroom. Like, you literally couldn't move. Mm-hmm. And, like... and it was just like this incredible, sweaty, just hot, like rock and roll show. And it felt like what I imagine like a punk basement show would be like back in the day, you know, of like just amazing rock and roll music and like just a crap load of humans in there all experiencing it all together. And like, yeah, dude, it was amazing. And then I think you posted a picture about it a while back, the Jason Isbell show. The fact that Jason Isbell and the Forerunner Unit played right here on this stage is still mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
That, like, that happened, you know? And I remember, I mean, it was crowded, but it wasn't packed, you know? And that's just, like, it's insane. And, you know, for a guy like me, it's definitely fuel for the fire to like see where he is and know where he was just, you know, 10 years ago or whatever that was. And, yeah, man, it's an incredible place. And, I love coming here. So it's going to be a blast.
Yeah. The Isbell show for people to understand is like, that was right after Southeastern. So like people were familiar with Elephant and they played Elephant and everyone shut up. You know, like that's kind of amazing. A note on the Jonathan Tyler thing. This is something that I think they packed this place in a whole lot more back in the day. Yeah. Like where you
probably against the rules, honestly. Like there was different owners then, so I don't feel like I'm putting Lance or Six in a tough spot, but like, dude, there's no way that was legal.
But what I would say though is like this is what's maybe nice about it is like even though you really couldn't get to the bathroom and you were crowded and like you're probably getting less beer at the end of the night. You know, no one really complaining about it. You know, like it's not a crowded like you're waiting in line at trying to check out at the grocery store kind of crowd.
Yeah, dude.
It's like no one's complaining about not getting another beer.
Yeah. And nobody was fighting. Like, that's something that I see at crowded shows these days. Like, even our shows, which I'm just mind-blowing of, like, I'm like the most boring old dad ever, and, like, people are getting hostile at our shows, but it's just, like, people were in a great mood and just enjoying it. And, like, I rarely remember. I mean, there were a couple of fights I saw in here back in the day, but, like, people didn't fight. Everybody's just in here having fun and like enjoying amazing music. And so, yeah, dude, it was a different time, man. But I guess everybody's just more hostile, more testosterone just surging through the veins.
Man, the last time I asked Lance, or I commented to Lance, I was like, man, you know, I have not seen a fight in here in forever. And then, like, the next week, there was, like, 3 in one night, the night I was here. I was like, Jesus, okay, I'm not going to jinx it anymore, knock on wood. This was years ago, but, you know, I digress.
Man, we were in Athens a couple of weeks ago, and, dude, these 2 frat kids started going at it, and I was like, man, I have not seen a fight like this in a long time. And it was while we were playing, and I'd never had to shut down a song because it happened right in the middle of a song, and, like, we had to stop and try and get peace going, and then just fired it right back up. But it's wild, man, to see it from stage because you're in an elevated spot, so you can see it all go down. And yeah, dude, it's really something.
Pro tip to everyone in the band: if you're like the lead singer and you see there's no better way to get a crowd behind you than calling out the fight and being like, "Don't fucking do that at my show."
Yeah,
and
dude.
like, get these fuckers out of here. There's like the crowd loves that more than the fight.
Yeah, dude, they love it. And I wasn't that abrasive, but I definitely was like, "Hey, dudes, come on, man, like get it together." And yeah, I don't even know how it ended up, but yeah, it was something.
They embraced and they sang the next verse to
exactly
to Sold
arm in arm together.
Gundry County auction.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
That's what happened. Yeah. Well, Grady, it's been a hell of a time talking, and
dude,
let's do this again soon.
Man, thanks for having me, man. Hopefully this one recorded. It looks like it did. I was watching the red light, so I think we're good.
I think we are too. We had a red out in Austin tonight.
There we go.
That's morning,
right.
So good on that. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks for giving it a listen. Once again, be sure to check out Wait, the latest album by Grady Spencer and The Work. Stop on over and visit our presenting partners over at Desert Door Texas Atoll, The Blue Light Live, and Charlie Stout Photography. Go order the Lubbock Way if you haven't just yet. And yeah, I'll see y'all soon for another episode of New Slang.